I'm sure you all have been hearing a lot about the Asus ROG Ally. If you're on the fence about what to get, hopefully in this video I'll give you some points to help you make the right decision. There is no right or wrong answer with this. Everyone has their own opinions and everyone is entitled to their opinion about this. There's a lot of pros and cons with each device here. Obviously, performance is definitely one of the easy things to compare. As far as the general specs and stuff, there are people who can do way better videos than me, so I'm not going to pretend like I know what everything means. But just across the board, if you're comparing 15 watts on this device to 15 on the other, you're looking at about 10 to 20% better performance. If you start bumping up the TDP, then you're looking at anywhere from probably, if we're going to be generous, probably 30 to 40%. Asus said in some of their promotional videos it was about 2 times, but later testing has showed it's not every game. It's very circumstantial. But there's a little bit more to each handheld here that a lot of people I don't think are talking about. Some games like Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3, Control, they run amazingly. They're running at full 60 FPS and they have no problem doing that. And this version, this is the $700 version of the Steam Deck. You don't need that to get, you can just get the $350 version of the Steam Deck, throw an SSD in there for $100 and you're set. And you're getting 60 FPS in some modern AAA games for essentially the price of a Switch, of an OLED Switch. I always like to bring the Switch out just because there's a lot of classic games on here that run really well as well. Stardew, Cult of the Lamb, Diablo. There's a lot of older games that run really well, or just games that don't require as much. So I always think what games you're playing come into account a lot more than people think. Yes, the Ally is better performance-wise, but if you're just going to be playing games like this or Resident Evil 2, 3, whatever, you know what I mean, like AAA games that can run really well on this thing, do you need that performance boost? Of course, it has 120 FPS display, but there's not a whole lot of games where that's going to be giving you anything useful. I can't imagine people playing Valorant or CSGO on the Ally a lot, so having the higher refresh rates, it's more of a novelty. We'll have to see when that comes into play, because if you have that 120 hertz refresh rate set and you're up at 30 watts or 25 watts, however much you can get on battery, I bet you'll get 40 minutes to an hour of battery life max, which is not great. There are definitely power banks, stuff you can buy, but for me, the reason why I don't care is I'm always going to be having access to an outlet when I play. There realistically is not a time for me that I can see myself having a handheld, having the time to play it, being comfortable playing it there, and not having an outlet. Yes, you can play these outside. The 500 nits, it's not super bright. You're going to be seeing a lot of reflection there. It really just depends on the person, but for me, the battery life isn't a big issue. Even when I'm on car trips, I always have access to an outlet in the car. There's really not a problem for me. It just depends on how remote you want to go, and that's totally up to the person. Me, I'm in Western America. I don't have subway systems that I need to be going on. There's not trains. Every airplane I've been on has outlets, so that's not a big issue for me. I see a lot of people try and make the point of battery, but essentially the reason I'm not taking around a laptop is because of the small form factor. The actual cable to carry it around is small. The power brick, you can just fit that in your bag and you're good to go, and you're still leaps and bounds ahead of any gaming laptop. It's pretty much what I'm going for when I'm getting these. Something that I don't see a lot of people talking about, and it's a point I've made before, the biggest difference, throw performance aside, throw everything aside, the controls, doesn't have trackpads, all that, the biggest difference is Windows. There's a lot of things that come with Windows, but the biggest thing for me is anti-cheat. As someone who has spent a lot of time in Destiny, let's see here, 515 hours just on Steam. I migrated from Xbox, but for me, Destiny has just been a very, love it or hate it, it's been a very fun game. There's a lot of games like Destiny that aren't compatible. See there? That, games like Valorant, I do like to play. It would be kind of fun to have that on the go. Battlefield, pretty much any Battlefield you can't play on the go. Call of Duty, you can't play. There are a lot of PvP shooter games that you can't play. Now, from the reaction I've been getting from some people in the comments in other videos, I feel like I'm kind of a niche I guess audience for that. There's not a lot of people who are begging to have Destiny on the go. I mean, I've got my hotspot. I'm ready to play. I've played it on here before. I actually had an SD card in there running Windows, Tiny 11. If you want, I could make a whole video about that, explaining that and how that went. But that was very interesting, and I don't think I'll ever do it again. Too much of a hassle. At that point, I'd rather just have a device that comes natively with Windows on it, which is why I pre-ordered the Asus. So for me, that's the biggest difference. All these videos I'm having on my YouTube Explore page, no one is talking about this. I think it is extremely important. For a gamer like me, it's a very big deal. So if you are someone who likes to play games like that, now this is for someone who doesn't already have a Steam Deck. If you already have a Steam Deck, I'm not suggesting you go and upgrade. That is just for me. For me, I feel that it is important enough for me that I would like to have that. And I'd like to compare the two. I'm definitely going to be still using both. I think the Steam Deck does things very well. Not everything very well, but what it does right, it does really good. But with that, there are other comparisons that you can make between the two. Just size comparisons and stuff. The Ally is about the size of a Switch, a little bit bigger on the edges, a little bit thicker, a lot quieter. But honestly, to me, that doesn't really matter. I've got a really big case on here. So as soon as everyone starts talking about weight, size, there's only a few things that matter to me, and that's sound. How loud is this? I'm not talking about speakers. I'm almost never using these front-facing speakers. I always have something plugged in. And when I say loud, it's because I can't hear how loud it is, but I know other people can. When I'm playing at work, if I've got people next to me trying to do other things, or someone across the room, do I want them to know that I'm playing Elden Ring? Because they can hear the fans, they can hear it begging for dear life, trying to get me to shut it off. And by that, I mean the Steam Deck. I've heard a lot. I won't know until I actually get my hands on if this is just if people are kind of blowing this out of the water. But if it is really that much quieter with the two fan setup, I'm really excited. So yeah, I'll definitely be doing a lot of review and testing out different games. If there is a game that you want me to test out on the Ally when it comes out, if you're waiting, if you don't know which side of the fence you want to sit on, if you do like Destiny and you want to see the performance, I'm probably going to be making tons of videos on different games, how they run. Recently, I've been showing off some of the games on here, showing people how they run on the Steam Deck. I bet you could find someone who's made a video, but I want to have my own backlog of videos for myself so that I can go back and check out, see how things ran on the settings that I had selected. But yeah, there are people who think the anti-cheat support is not a big deal. And you're totally valid to say that. You're probably not playing games like I am. I'm just now kind of breaking into first person or third person story games. I never was much of a story game person. So I have getting the Steam Deck has had me have to branch out a little bit here. I got Dead Space, I got Control, I got all these games just to play on the Steam Deck to see how they ran. Hogwarts, There's quite a few in here, and with how many there is, Atomic Heart ran really well. If you've played it, you know. Cyberpunk, all these games, they ran well, but there's just too many that too many times that I wanted to play an online game to maybe start cracking down on the battle pass, get to the end. I'm not always able to be at home, so having the ability to work on stuff like that is a big deal for me. I think there's a lot of things about the Steam Deck that I wish wasn't there. The trackpads I think are useless. The desktop mode is pretty much useless. The only times I've gone to the desktop mode is to go view the version of Steam that is not here, the non-big picture Steam. I have not once caught myself, oh, let's go browse Linux, let's go watch some YouTube or something. Never, ever, and you never will. It's just not worth it. The not having support for joysticks and all that, and having to use the trackpads for me is a major turnoff. I'm not a big fan. One of the reasons I'm trying to get away from laptops and gaming laptops is because I hate trackpads and I hate having to lug around a controller with me everywhere. This is essentially all that in one, right? Like, you've got the controller built in, the screen, and you're all good to go. So it's been a slow evolution for me, going from an Xbox to a PC to a gaming laptop. Now we're here, but we're just not there. We're just not there. We're almost there, but we're just not. And it's just Windows for me. It could literally have all the exact same specs and everything as the Steam Deck and just be running Windows, and I probably still would be purchasing it. That's how much that means to me, and I know a lot of people probably won't agree. I'm running this a little bit longer than I'd like. If you agree with me, leave a comment. Let me know how you feel. If you don't, if you think that this isn't a big deal and that's not a good reason to buy the Ally, let me know. I'd love to hear you guys' discussion in the comments. Some of my previous videos, there's been pretty good discussions, and I've been enjoying interacting with you guys and kind of trying to see where everybody sits on the sits with their opinions. But thanks for sticking around. If you did, I know not a lot of you guys do, but if you did, I appreciate it. Consider subscribing. I've been having a lot of fun making these videos, so if you guys enjoy just sitting here watching me, listening to me talk, if you do enjoy that, that's pretty much what's to come. So if you did enjoy that, please leave a like, subscribe, and stick around. Thanks, you guys. Bye.